Hello, everybody. It's Greg. So S&P's new all-time highs. Amazing gap up above a wide range topping tail bar that rejected the new all-time high yesterday. Clearly bullish. Um, so far, a narrow range today. Hanging on to the gains. I suspect this market is not going to crack in front of triple witching, but after that, all bets are off. We'll see what happens. And any kind of a negative surprise would be quite negative because this is a bullish pattern. You had all of this volatility. I spoke about this several times over the last couple of weeks, and that how it was starting to get a contraction in this volatility and ranges, and it could lead to a trend. And that trend may last a few days, it may last longer. It may fail next week after the triple witching. We'll have to see. Anyway, um, this is bullish. The cues, money is flowing back into technology. That's a positive. Yesterday had the topping tail bar. There was a gap up today. It's staying above the opening price. That's one of the measures to consider during the day, even if you see a reversal or a retest. As long as prices are above the opening price and above yesterday's close, considering bearish strategies from an intraday point of view typically doesn't work out unless prices have become climactic. They're not climactic. As you can see, all of this slop that was happening over the prior couple of days has formed a large base, and then it gapped up this morning. I thought, at the time, because it's a normal thought, that it would come down here and touch the top of that area, but it didn't, which tells us that buyers are aggressive. They weren't waiting for it to come down to support. Rather, I don't know, maybe it was some pre-market support that was there that they traded against, and it pushed it back up. And so far today, it's just been really, really, really quiet as prices are up against that pivot high there. But if it can hold on to these gains and take out this high tomorrow, it could be off to the races with a pretty nice move. Any gap down into this area or retracement into that area, the bullish bias certainly gets neutralized at a minimum. Diamonds, new all-time highs, looks great. Financials. So I'm concerned here a little bit that whether this might become a double top. Maybe it goes through it. There's no break and close under a prior day's low yet. So it's just an observation of being at resistance, and then we'll see if it keeps going or not. The Russell improving. A lot of still this erratic price action coming up to the top of the range. Sellers are going to be here. We'll see how much they come into effect. KRE, regional banks, got really whippy yesterday. That's up at resistance. We'll see how that holds up. We talked about over the last several days and weeks, pre-market, about how this was dropping, and our expectation was for a half a point cut, and that was based on where prices started to move down into where they were prior to the Fed meeting, which supported that bias, and that bias held up to be true. It's further downside, and so a big, big drop. There was a giant advance from 2022, so putting it in perspective of the move up, it's still got a long ways to go, and probably, I don't know if it'll ever come back down here again, but anything we can get to keep this going lower would be a positive. Some opens. This is a long in the letter. Probably time to exit it if it trades under a prior day's low for sure. Another one from the letter moving up very nicely. Breakout after a little downside shakeout. This one really slow, not doing too much. We'll give it a little time. GoDaddy was a setup pulling back to the 50. Got in yesterday, gapped up today. Looks pretty good. Holding on to the gain. That looks great. This was a trade off of the crude oil. Covered that pre-market multiple times, coming down to major support on the weekly time frame. So this is maybe get a little ways up toward that resistance area up there. Semiconductors, right? Looking for these to bring up the rear. This tends to be an institutional darling when it's doing well. You can see when they're in love with it, they really love it. And when they don't, they don't. So we got this retest pattern here. There was the gap up. It looks good. SMHs, you can see gapped up there. As long as it holds on to the gain, should be able to go up. Lift, kind of a grinder. Decent pattern, bottoming pattern there. Old marijuana Tilray, maybe it can go a little further. I don't have big hopes for it, but it's been a very long time since this has really shown any life, but we saw it down there near the lows. Tesla got above this resistance here. I love it. I think it's going to continue to go higher. Bar by bar, it could be a big winner. Zoom, a little bit of a problem here. It gapped up this morning. You see the dark bar there? It held the pivot. If it clears here, go for it. It should make a very nice move. As always, if you have any questions, email me, Greg at Master Trader.